Should we have multi-channel pure audio as opposed to surround sound for films? Well, this is a great question from Jack in Warsaw, Poland. What's your opinion regarding pure audio multi-channel music? There's very limited numbers of such discs available worldwide, and mainly in the SACD format, which is correct, although there are a few in DVD. Most people I discuss this issue with argue that we have only two ears. Yes, I don't agree with such a standpoint. What, that we don't have two ears? Yeah. Of course we have two ears, but we can easily recognize sounds coming from behind us, also from on top, on bottom, and moreover, only multi-channel speaker configurations are capable to reproduce real acoustic atmospheres of concert halls in my listening room. And last but not least, there are modern music recordings where listeners are intentionally seated among musicians of the orchestra. Two channels are not able to reproduce such effects. What do you think about all this? Quadraphonic experiments of the 70s have failed. Will 5.1 music follow that example of failure? Well, as a dedicated two-channel guy, I have very mixed feelings about this. But to not belabor the point, because I know people get, you took 10 minutes to just get around to the point. So I'm doing my best not to do that anymore. If I had my druthers, and I don't, but if I did, then 5, 6, 8 multi-channel surround would be exactly what I would want. That said, there are a number of reasons why we don't have it. So we are, and with apologies to Ohm's Law listeners, I'll do my best to describe this for those that are only listening to the audio channel of this. We're in our new mastering lab that's run by Gus Skinnis of the SACD Supercenter. Gus, well, still, I mean, it's very early stages. We're just still setting up. And you can see, for those that can see and for those that can't, we're in a fairly decent sized room. It's about 35 by 35 feet with angular walls and big windows over here. And it is a complete surround sound mastering studio for SACDs and CD. So this is the far right channel, and then there's a speaker way over there that is the left, and center channel, of course, left and right, and then all the appropriate amplification systems. And here in the center is the mastering console where Gus sits and using a direct stream DAC as his reference, or multiple direct stream DACs if he's doing multi-channel. This is where a lot of future SACDs will be produced, and a room where we're actually going to have musicians come in and record. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Very, very early stages of the process to get this room up to par. But we've started. The room is built. It doesn't sound terribly bad right now. We got to put those up on the wall. I'm looking at some diffusers that need to go up on the wall. Okay. So this is the room where such a thing will be developed. And one of the recording processes that Gus was involved in is called the recording tree, the listening tree. And they had a column of microphones going around a tree, and they would do around the tree recordings to where you've got this circular microphone with multiple mics. I think it had like 6 microphones, maybe 5. And the musicians would gather around the microphone and play, mostly acoustic stuff, of course. And the results, when you listen to it back here, it's like they're in the room. And you're right. There's people behind me, there's people to the side and in front. I don't need the stereo speakers because I have all of this. Now, Gus he'll play that for you, he'll listen, you go, oh my God, that is good. That is just as real as it possibly can get. And then he'll do a stereo down mix of it, and it's really disappointing. I listen every day to some of the best stereo systems in the world. And it's always a thrill. I mean, I love it. And I can envision the musicians in the room in front. They're in back of the speakers, of course, but they're in front of me as a listener. But when I hear this, when I hear surround sound that is pure and done properly, like in this kind of environment, I am ruined. I go back to stereo and it's like, it is so much better. There's just no getting around it. Now, that said, how many people are going to want this, not the recording console, but how many people are going to want this whole scene in their living room? Not many. We have trouble now with getting spouses and couples to agree to put a big pair of floor-standing loudspeakers anywhere in a living room at all, and that's just a pair. If you want to add a subwoofer, that's another box, right? So it's a real problem, and now you're telling me it's not good enough? You want 5 speakers plus subwoofers? You're out of your frickin' mind. I mean, that's kind of how the conversation goes. So somehow we've got to be able to figure out a way to get multi-channel surround into homes that work for people. Because let's face it, we have to live in these homes. I mean, I don't begrudge people. My wife, Terry, won't let me have much of a stereo in there, and she sure as heck isn't going to let me have a surround sound system. For that, I got a home theater, but it's a theater. This is an extraordinary experience. Pure multi-channel audio done right. It is extraordinary. And I, with all my being, wish we could do something like this in a practical sense in people's homes, but I don't know how to do it. But we're working on it. All right. Thank you for the question. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.